Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The name of God who is most beneficent and merciful. Good morning to everybody. So I'm very grateful, particularly to David and his team, to give me this opportunity to be here to share some information. It's not very technical and not very scientific. Just what is there back in Pakistan. So just here is the overview. So I would just like to give a brief about the fruit industry in our country. I will skip the information because from last 2 days we are listening a lot about organic growing in United States as well as in Europe, and I will try to focus mainly what are the prospects and the challenges back in my country. Okay, Pakistan is basically is agriculture-based country. We having more than a 70% population somehow engaged in this sector with field crops as well as with horticulture and other industries. But one thing, we are blessed with the very diverse climatic conditions, agroecological conditions, and that allowing us to produce a range of fruit crops. Throughout the year, more than 50 types of fruits we are producing around the year. And we having a diversity in our indigenous germplasm, particularly in some fruits like in mangoes. We having more than 300-400 types of varieties which are indigenous, and they are available in the domestic markets, and some of them they are also we doing it for the export. Most of the fruit we consumed domestically, and very little share, is very less, around $43 million we are exporting to the different countries. Main fruits which we export includes major share is for citrus, mangoes. We have a lot of date palms, and also in palm fruits, apple. We having a lot of apple. So here is among citrus, the Kinnu mandarin is the leading fruit crop, which share about 60 to 70% of the citrus, and that is also the exportable commodity. In mangoes, the season our mango is the wider window. We start with the mid of the May from the southern parts of the country, and then it extend up to the mid of the September. So there is a lot of mango germplasm. Sindri is early variety. It's very popular, and we are exporting that to different countries. White Chonsa is a bit late, and these two mangoes, our competition main is with India. So Indian mangoes, they are also very popular, but these two varieties, when they are in the market, then any competitive Indian mango is there. For apples, these three varieties, Red Delicious, Golden, as well as Royal Gola, so these people they're growing and also exporting to some extent. We're having lots of dates, Dhakki, Asil, Mazawati, these three cultivars, they are export grade cultivars. And guava is another important fruit. It's a tropical to subtropical, and Surai, Surkha, Gola, these three varieties we are growing a lot and also exporting. If we see the map, we in our four provinces, if we take the citrus is mainly growing. You see in the center of the Punjab, from where I belong, and then in some component from the Sindh, and that Punjab is sharing around 60 to 70% of the citrus. And major is the Kinnu mandarin, followed by some oranges and grapefruit. If you see the mango, so main mango growing area is the southern part of the Punjab and northern part of our Sindh province, and this excellent quality mangoes they are produced. Sindri mango is produced being here, and Safed Chonta from this area. If we see date palms, so a lot of date palms are produced all around. So lots of date palm they are growing, but major from the Balochistan province, and the Sindh province contribute major date palm production compared with the other. In Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, this province is producing a good quality Asil, Dhakki dates that are exporting with processed form to India, and a lot of we are exporting. Okay, the apples. So apples we are producing in uphills in our Punjab province, and also in uphills in Balochistan. This is bordering with the Afghanistan, and here it's a good quality apple produced. I will show in later slides. So we having some pockets here and some pockets here where people they can grow organic, and they are naturally growing organically, and they are not aware of that their fruit is very precious, and they can get some markets for their fruits. Okay, guava is an fifth important fruit crop. It's grown basically in Punjab as well as in Sindh, and it's available throughout the year. So we are getting 2 crops, one in summer and one in winter, and it's very popular, and people, they enjoy around the year. Okay, if we look at the share, the main share for the fruit comes to the Punjab province, which contribute more than 60, say around 70%, and rest 2 provinces, that's Sindh and Balochistan, and very little, 5%. Mostly the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is up hills, and they are producing mostly the stone fruits, apples, pears, peaches, and some of the plums. Okay, if you see the main ranking of our fruits, so citrus is the leading fruit crop. That production is account for around 25 to 30% of the fruit. Then mangoes, apples, dates, apricot, bananas, and the few they are missed in this slide. They are at the end. We're having some plums, pomegranate, and grapes as well. Okay, I'm just skipping this. This is all Google information, so we already have learned a lot of what is going on in the United States and the Europe. So only I will try to focus here. You see, in Asian countries, so we have a not good story for organic production. We're not enjoying any good place. It's not an encouraging trend. Very little, less than 0.1% share comparing with the other Asian countries for organic fruit production. Okay, so what is the status back in our country? No doubt, from last 4 or 5 years, there is 4 to 5-fold increase in the organic farming. This also including some other crops as well. It's not only the fruits. And our share is very little, very negligible. And basically, the reason for that, we are mainly emphasizing on the quantity. Our conventional farming, main focus of all our research and all other stuff is on conventional farming, and that's why people, they are more to increase the yield and very little emphasis on the quality. But with passage of time, now many of our mango and citrus growers, they have certified with the Euro Gap as well as Global Gap for their export of their commodities. We, at the moment, the main markets, the Middle East, Eastern countries, Sri Lanka, some Asian states, we are exporting our commodities. And our organic export is very little, and its main share is from the cereals, the wheat as well as the rice, and very little with the fruits. Okay, prospects. So naturally, we are blessed with some very good geographical conditions where the nature supports to grow, to convert, where easily we can shift from conventional to the organic growing. Like here you see in northern Punjab and our border with the Kashmir, where natural mango orchards, these are, we say, is forests, natural widely grown trees. Their history goes back to 100 years. Maybe some trees are very old, 200, 300 years old trees, and these are grown just widely. And actually, these came from the time when the Mughal, they were ruling that area. It's a combined India and Pakistan, and their troops, they were moving from that area. And when they eaten the mangoes and they thrown their stones, and that wild plantation is there. It's not artificially irrigated evenly. It's not fed with any fertilizer, any chemical, and this is very popular there. People, they consume. It's a seedling mangoes for pickles. It's sour in taste. Stone is a bit big, but it's very common in domestic market for pickles. And all these for the organic pickling, and there is a potential that area can be developed for the production of organic mango for pickles. Similarly, in Balochistan, that border with Afghanistan, that area, we're having dry mountains. There's a lot of chilling in winter, but in the summer it's a dry and very little rainfall. People, they find some spring, some water, and they cultivate fruit trees, and the orchards, they are isolated. Maybe sometime 100 miles, 50 miles from one orchard to the other orchard. It's the biggest province in our country, and that area, people, they have very limited use of pesticides, insecticides, as well as the fertilizers. Mostly it's now, you say it's around 80 to 90% naturally organic, and only need is to educate the people, and they can shift easily their farming conventional into the organic. We also having a very good strategic geographical location in Asia. We're having a very high-end market in our neighborhood, particularly Malaysia, Singapore, UAE, where people, they have aware and there is increase in the demand for the organically grown fruits, we can capture these market by encouraging growers to convert the conventional into the organic growing. We have less competition with other cash crops for organic, but particularly for fruits. So our main cash crop is the cotton, sugarcane, rice, wheat. Particularly the cotton is the main problem for the grower. Is they are not getting much access to the inputs. There is a lot of attack of the insects and diseases, and they have to invest a lot, but they have no option there. But we can find some options for them by introducing this type of crops. So when we will encourage, definitely that will generate some opportunities for the employment as well as for the capacity building. Here you see it's our area near the Kashmir border. Okay, so you see these are the old trees, around some more than 200 years old, very tall, 60 to 80 feet tall, and people, they harvest them, they in heaps of the fruits, and they sold in the local markets for pickles. On the other hand, this is the area that bordering with Afghanistan. So these are the dry mountains, and they having where they find some water, they cultivate trees. These are the apple red delicious orchards, and you see their problem is their handling. So how they are, this is their pack house. So you have, yesterday we have seen a very good, excellent facility, so everything packing in the field. Okay, so what are the challenges? Quickly I will find, first thing, the most important which we learned here as well is the awareness. So there is a need to create awareness among the consumers as well as for the growers, so that organic fruit is very important for the consumption. Whatever we are growing is not available domestically in the domestic markets, so people, they're not aware that organic fruit is how important for the consumption, for the health, and its quality. There is a lack of, so most of our research is focusing mainly on the conventional farming. So if people will convince, definitely when the farmers, they are looking for the research organizations, how they can solve their problems. So there is a need to improve the funding and the research R&D facilities for particularly related to the organic farming. Our farmers, they are very small land holdings, it's another issue. Small orchards, it's difficult for them and to change their already doing practices, and particularly they have low capital and they need to some subsidy from the government, and that component is also lacking. Also the inputs, particularly yesterday visit, I've seen a huge facility for compost, but such type of facilities, they are not there. So when people, they will be convinced to change their farming conventional to the organic, definitely there should be some outlets for them from where they can manage their inputs. So governments, it's not on the priority of the government at the moment, this organic farming. There are a lot of other things, but if the government will take interest, definitely along with some private sector, then it can move further, and people, they can shift their present conventional into the organic farming. Also, there is not much promotion for the market. Mostly there is no any independent organic market, even for the other crops. Even only in big cities with some big superstores, they having some short corner where they put some of the organic fruits. So that is another issue. If people will grow, definitely they have to find out some markets where they can sell their commodities. Quality is an important issue because mainly the focus is to improve the yield, to improve the quantity. So we are working to particularly develop some of the value chain right from the field to the consumer market. So we have done a lot of work for mangoes and as well as for the citrus. Also we have improved our standards for the grading and packaging and marketing. And also finally, so if the grower will be encouraged and they start growing organic farming, there should be some organic certification system, both for the domestic as well as if people, they are interested to export their commodities, and that component is also lacking. It's another big challenge. Here you see it's all in a summary. These are the all challenges. So in combined together, if we want to improve this system or encourage our growers, so we have to work out all of these challenges. So in summary, there is a need, and there is for the improvement of organic growing. So have to address the following challenges. we have to prioritize. Most important, I think, to me is the consumer awareness, and then after that to start some R&D programs, and finally there is need to have some certification or legislation, and the governance is always an issue to implement all these things. Finally, I would acknowledge the financial support from the endowment fund, from a union to present this information with you guys. Thank you very much. If you have any questions,
yeah, any
most
questions from we have a little bit of time.
Yeah.
How in the world do you get those mangoes picked?
Sorry, repeat again.
Those big giant trees.
Oh, that height is some mangoes even 80 feet, 90 feet, and
How do you harvest that?
so mostly people they climb to the tree, they shake, and they put some maybe cloth and they collect it. So these are just this used only for the pickles. Then they cut it and then make pickles, and just for processing, not for our fresh consumption.